Hello, everyone. Okay, so Raptors victorious yet again, 110-96 over the Milwaukee Bucks. And Raptors slowly picking it up and sitting in sixth place right now, 14-15. And Bucks 16-13. Now, Raptors have played them three times this season. And at no point in any of these games did it look like the Raptors were either A, out of place, or that the Bucks had any type of control in these games. The first one the Raptors lost, and now on this back-to-back, Raptors have won both games. Fred, absolutely incredible today. I was watching them, and as you guys know, like I've been posting some videos of just some breakdowns, and Fred's been just, I don't know, I'm in awe. Like I knew from day one when I saw him that he was going to be better than he looked, because just his court awareness, his shooting, his ball handling, his defense. And fast forward like 5 or 6 years since him and DeLon came on together with the Raptors, and he's one of the best, most complete point guards in the league. And the Raptors, miss Kyle Lowry today for sure, but the ability to have Fred there, just take the reins, alleviate the pressure off everybody else. OG's back; he looks like an absolute stud. And OG's really at his best when he's not asked to do too much, and when everybody else is contributing. Norm, got to give another shout out. Massive first quarter today. I think it was 15 points in the first. He ended up finishing with 29. Led all Raptors. Siakam had a pretty nice game. I know he's second in the team, 27 points. Fred, 17. OG, only 10 points. It looked like he scored a lot more, played 26 minutes, but 7 rebounds, and his defense today was absolutely incredible. His block on Middleton to end the first half. Who blocks a jump shot these days, especially, off, like a double crossover step back that Middleton did? They're just, these guys are giving me a lot of passion, a lot of joy. I know Raptors fans feel the same way. Get to the Bucks. So we know that Drew Holiday's been a big part of their team, but this has been a well-oiled machine for maybe 3-4 years now for sure. This team's been the best team in the Eastern Conference on paper, and for I guess the body of work that they have, Bud has been a pretty solid coach, and at this point, people are calling for his head. Bucks fans, people around the NBA, just Raptors continue to expose them. Now, like I said, Drew Holiday's out, but so is Kyle Lowry. So 2 starting point guards out for the team. We could argue on who's better, but both guys, offensively and defensively, really carry the load for both teams. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Statistically, good game. He fouled out. And those might have been some empty calories because when they needed him most, he was unable to really get them buckets. Raptors defense, yet again, top notch. I posted a few clips as well of them when the Raptors set up their defense, especially against Giannis. And I think that the Raptors have kind of given the rest of the NBA a blueprint onto how to guard Giannis. I went into detail talking about how he hasn't really improved his game. And that being said, man, the guy's a 2-time MVP. Like let's not take that away from him. 2-time MVP, and we're still kind of nitpicking. Why? Maybe he's not getting that secondary support. But a lot of players, I don't want to put him in the category of LeBron, but these top-notch guys, Dame Lillard, they bring it every night offensively. And whether they have help, whether they don't. Dame, for example, CJ's been out, and Nurkic has been out for seems like 2.5 years. These guys just bring it every game. And like I said, Giannis, when the season's all said and done, right now averaging 20 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5.8 assists. You look at those numbers and you're saying, what else can I give you if you're him, right? But you could give a lot more. Free throw percentage at 64%, 3-point shooting at 29%. And, some people were saying it was a short layoff from the last season, and I get it. They were embarrassed by Miami. And like any other situation where we deal with heartbreak, you're between a rock and a hard place. There's 2 things you can do with that adversity. You can either, curl up in a ball and cry and not do too much, or work like hell and battle to get to the top of the mountain. And I don't want to say that Giannis hasn't put in the work, because like I said, the guy's 2-time MVP, but the shooting, in order for him to get to that next level, and at what point are NBA fans and the Bucks kind of going to look at it and say, he's incredible, but he is what he is. Some guys just don't get shooting. Some guys can't get a handle. And that's fine because they bring other things to the table. And maybe this is what Giannis is. Won a Defensive Player of the Year, and like I said, 2-time MVP. And defensively, nobody's really saying much. Today, that elbow that he got to, I believe it was OG's face at the end of the game, that was a frustration thing. Like, this is, They lost to Miami last year. There's a lot of questions. This is like a championship or bust season for the Bucks. And the way things are going right now, it doesn't look like they're even going to get to the East Final. Brooklyn right now taking it to the Lakers. Granted, Anthony Davis is out. Brooklyn's also missing Kevin Durant, arguably the best scorer of all time. So there's a lot of questions in the NBA, and with a lot of these teams that have been, trying to get to the top of the mountain, whether that be the Clippers, Bucks, Raptors before they won the championship, Denver, Utah at this point. A lot of teams, once you've won for so long, and we saw this with the Raptors, if you don't win a championship, people are going to lose their jobs. Players are going to get traded. People in roles like GMs, presidents might get fired after a while. And I feel like right now with Giannis, I don't want to compare it to too much of the Harden situation in Houston, but you run it back for so long, you tinker with the lineup, and at what point are we kind of saying, maybe this team doesn't have it? Maybe this player just doesn't have it. And I don't want to say, Giannis is 26 years old, so I don't want to write him off. But as we've seen with James Harden in Houston, one of the best scorers of all time, one-on-one players of all time, and they brought him in everything he needed, we think. Maybe, like I said, they just don't have it, and that's totally fine. I'm going to end that on that note, just talk about the Raptors quickly. They look really good. I know that I gave some truth on them of what I saw earlier in the season, that they didn't look incredible, and they started out very slow out of the gate, and they didn't really have any excuses. I know that they're playing in a different country, but they have the same turnaround that everybody else has. They get the warm weather. They're not here in this cold climate that we have here in Toronto. But Raptors really turning it around. They've impressed me a lot, and as you couldn't tell, if you couldn't tell from the tone of my voice, me and the rest of Raptors supporters are really loving the way that these guys are going, battling every night. Seems like Norm's really settled into this starter's role. Baines, I've done some appreciation posts for him. He's really brought it as well. And it seems like he might be better off the bench with Pascal at the center, OG at the 4. It's a very good defensive lineup, and they can switch on anybody. And that's the Raptors' identity, really, is ball movement and switchability, and that incredible defense that we've seen now for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, 4, 5, as R. Kelly would say. But yeah, that's it on the Raptors. Their ceiling, I don't know. I said last week things are changing, but I did say last week in the last podcast that I did that I believe that the only team that this team could really beat higher than them in the seedings would be Milwaukee, because they've had their number forever. I feel like this has vindicated my statement a little bit. And a team like Brooklyn is going to give anybody fit just based on the offensive firepower that they have. I know that they don't have the defending, but just keeping up with that team offensively is just going to be a nightmare for anybody. Moving on to other things, I just want to talk about the All-Star teams that were named. So in the East, no surprise here, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. Everybody pretty much there is pretty much battling for an MVP minus Beal, because his team's been incredible. But he's been off the charts for about 2 years now, solidifying himself as top 3 shooting guard in the league. LeBron in the West with Luka, Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, and Nikola Jokic. I don't think they got anything wrong here. I'm not going to lie. There's always going to be some snubs, but right now, just going through the coaches voting for the bench players. I'll do that with Igor hopefully this weekend as we get some more time to kind of go through with it. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's podcast. Miami looked like they were turning it around today too. I'm expecting them, just like the Raptors, to get more familiar. They have had a lot of guys miss time with COVID and COVID protocols. So expecting them to bounce back and probably, to be honest, challenge the Raptors for like a 4th or 5th seed when it's all said and done. So I believe March 5th, March 6th is the last day for the first half of the season. And then after that, All-Star game, I believe, is on the 7th. Then they're going to release a second half schedule. And that's really where these guys are going to, figure out their seeding and fighting for position, because you don't want to play a team like Brooklyn in the first round if you're Toronto. You want to try and get, obviously, as high seed as possible so that you can win a first round series, then roll the dice in the second round. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick pod, and me and Igor will check in with you on the weekend. Take care.